I'm really excited this morning, and I'm humbled as well. Everyone here this morning has a story to tell and something that I would like to hear. And I really thank you for this opportunity to share our story. Hopefully this will be an encouragement to you. I just want to see that, keep on believing that the God we serve is a good God, and that each and every one of your lives are very, very important to Him. I was born and raised in Sudbury. My parents moved there in 1968 from Finland. My dad came from a farming community called Delva, and very similar to what Engelhart and New Lisker look like here. I had a chance to go there years ago, and very similar to this area. My background, I started originally with my dad gardening, and he was into heavy equipment operating and that sort of thing. But I wasn't really into the farming thing, and so I got into construction. And that was my first career. I went to school for that, and when I graduated, there's no work to do. 1992, the economy is in the slumps, kind of like it is now. And I had a choice to make. I could either go on welfare or try to do something with my time. And there was an ad in the paper, so I applied to policing. And there were 1,700 applicants at the time. Everybody was looking for work. And I ended up getting hired in the first pick. God was looking out for me and got me something to do to keep me out of trouble, I guess. But that's what I've been doing for the last 16 years. I've been policing. And of that, 11 years I've been on the tactical unit. It's kind of like the SWAT team in the States. We do the same kind of thing that you see on TV. I learned quickly that on the exterior, police are a tough bunch. They have, we deal with dangerous situations daily, and that causes many of us to put on a hard exterior, a hard shell. And to somebody on the outside, it might look like we're arrogant or proud, but really it's a coping mechanism that we put on to be able to do the job that needs to be done. Being a Christian and shining God's truth in that atmosphere, it's been challenging, to say the least. The guys on the team, on the tactical team, they're all the alpha dogs in the service. They're all leader types and the best of the best. They would be the toughest, the hardest kind of exterior that we see on the service. But it's funny, through the years, when we've been called to perform high-risk arrests or do dynamic entries, while we're en route to the call, I'll say a prayer out loud in the truck and ask for God's grace and mercy and protection. And it's funny, because sometimes if I neglect to pray en route, the guys will turn to me and say, "Hey, Paul, do your thing." And so I'll say a prayer, and it'll comfort them as well as myself, and I know that God is with us going before us. This situation that we've gone through with Henna has just really opened doors for me to be able to share with the guys and with other officers on the service that I normally wouldn't sit down and talk with. They've contacted me through email and just chatting on the road, asking me how things are going, and it's been for God's glory, like my wife has said, the whole thing that we've gone through. Driving around here now this weekend, I'm surprised at how few signs I see on the road that's warn about bumps or bumpy road. You guys have great roads here. Back in Sudbury, we have the dubious reputation of making the 10 worst roads list in Canada every year, with several of our roads making that list. On the road to life, I've been pretty fortunate. I've only hit a few of these spots where I've had to watch out for the bumps. However, when a situation or a time where hitting a section like that comes along, I've soon realized that I haven't got what it takes in my own self to make it through those sections. I've learned that it's way better to humble myself before God and to ask for His help rather than try to trust in my own strength. And our most recent bump in the road, it's more like a washout. Was Henna's situation there. I'd like to give a little bit of a history of my background before I kind of follow up what Henna was teaching or sharing there. In 2002, we decided that we're going to sell our little house. We had a little 800 square foot house and 2 children and running short of room. We decided that we're going to build a little bit bigger of a place and get a little more space, make it a little more comfortable. And I made plans. I had a construction background, so I drew up plans for the house and got everything going. We found a lot and things were falling into place, and now we had to get the finances in order. And I was starting to carry the stress a little bit and wondering where the money's going to come from. And we've been heating our home for 8 years with wood. And this one morning I was feeling stressed out, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning. I got to leave to work real soon, and I have to get the fire going to keep the house warm.